Today we're going to be recreating our own version of this painting called Charing Cross Bridge by André Derain. He was a really famous Fauvist landscape painter working in England. This image is going to be our inspiration for our own bridge painting today, creating a large path and bright, vivid fireball trees. Alright guys, let's get our papers ready and get started. Alright guys, we're going to start drawing. You can use a black pen, a Sharpie, or a pencil. As always, what's great about drawing from a YouTube tutorial is that you can pause the video at any time if you need more time drawing a specific shape. Alright, we're starting on the right hand side, about halfway up our page, and we're going to create a jagged circle blob shape that looks a little bit like a fireball. From there, we're going to extend two long skinny lines out from underneath it and attach them to create a tree trunk. These are going to be our trees. From behind that first fireball, we're going to create a second fireball shape. It doesn't matter how accurate they are. From there, we're going to take two more skinny lines and attach them to create another trunk. Now, the Fauvist created very simple shapes, so sometimes they combine multiple objects together in one shape. So we're going to create this sort of fireball shape that curves to the back, and we're going to add three long skinny trunks to it. This creates three more trees, but they're all grouped together. Now, in the middle of the page, we're going to create yet another fireball shape. Be creative. From there, we're going to add in two skinny lines, join them together. Maybe we'll make this into two trees. So let's add a second trunk. From there, we're going to create a second fireball shape and add another trunk. If I'm going too quickly, feel free to pause. Behind this tree, we're going to add yet another curved, long, fiery shape. Lots of squiggles. Doesn't need to be too precise. Perfect. Now we need to create a horizon line. So we're going to start at the top of the page on the left-hand side and draw a line all the way across the page. We're going to stop at our trees so that we don't draw a line right through them. Now let's create some buildings in our background. We're going to head with our pen, we're going to head across, up, across, back down, across and up and down, creating some squiggly, square-like or rectangular-like shapes in the background. Just follow along, bring your pen up and across and down and up and across, maybe up a little bit more, back down and across, copying the shapes as closely as you can to what I'm drawing. But you can also have a little bit of variation here in your shapes. No stress required. Let's create some tall buildings that go all the way off the page. Okay, and back down, and we'll end with a building that goes right off the edge of the page. Nice. Awesome job. Now we're going to create a path. So we're going to take our pen and we're going to create a curving path that follows down along our trees, behind those trees, and curves right off the page. Now we're going to have another side of the path come down and swooping in front of the lines where we've created our tree trunks. Curving all the way down to the bottom of the page. And another pathway, maybe a walking path or a sidewalk, that comes down on the opposite side of our tree trunks. So I'm going to stop my pen every time I hit the tree trunk so I don't draw a line through those tree trunks. And lastly, I'm going to add one more path right off the page. Great job, guys. Now, we still need to add a few more minor details. Let's create a tree branch that's close up that comes into the picture frame. We're just going to create some zigzags here to add a little bit of shape and color. Now we'll add a building. Draw a rectangular shape, maybe like a trapezoid if you know what that is, with some curved edges, and a rectangle that comes down from that. We have our roof and our building. Let's add in some small squares to make some windows and a door and maybe a couple more windows so that our house or building looks really nice and interesting. We can use lots of colors here. Next, we're going to add some shapes in here that are meant to represent some carriages, horse-drawn carriages that are sliding along the path. I'm going to create a square, some lines coming out of my square, and then connect them. Maybe I'll also draw a circle for a wheel. If you want to just draw a rectangle, if that's easier for you, you can just use a rectangle. That works too. Now, as the carriages start to go farther away from me, they're going to be simpler. So here I'm going to draw a square shape and another square shape around it. Now I'm going to add a skinny rectangle that comes up and pretend that that's going to be my horse out front of the carriage pulling it along. Let's create a few more of these shapes. We'll do a square, a bigger rectangle, and then a skinny rectangle in the middle for the horse. Try two more. These ones you can just create a small rectangle with a little bump coming out of the front for the shape of the horse. Easy peasy. Lastly, we're going to add in a little factory, so start by drawing a square, and you can add in a tall, skinny rectangle on top of it. Draw a little poof of smoke coming out of the factory's chimney. Nice. Let's try some more smoke coming out of the other buildings that we have in our background. Just draw little cloud shapes. They don't need to be perfect. Awesome. I think we're done. Great job drawing. Now let's add some color. So I'm using watercolor paints here, and I'm doing this on extra super fast speed. So when you see me painting, you need to understand that I wasn't actually painting this fast. I was painting nice and slow and making sure that I got all of my paint around all of my lines and made it look really nice and neat as I was painting. If you're working at home and don't have watercolor paints, use pencil crayons, markers, or crayons. As long as you have lots of bright, bold colors, you're on the right track. What's important to know about the Fauvist artists is that they chose colors based solely on how much they loved them. They had nothing to do with what colors the actual objects exist as in real life. These are called arbitrary colors. Colors that are just chosen for aesthetic purposes, so to make things look good. The trick to choosing arbitrary colors is to ask yourself, what color is the sky in real life? Well, typically we think of the sky as being blue, but in this picture, I want it to be a nice, vibrant pink color, so I'm painting it pink. What color are buildings? Well, they're usually gray, but I'm going to paint them bright blue and purple. What about the grass? Well, the grass is typically green, but I don't care about painting the grass the true color, and you shouldn't either. So I want you to choose really bright and vibrant colors that are not actually the real colors of the object. If a tree is green, I don't want to see any green trees on your painting. I want you to paint them crazy bright colors. Here I chose a nice warm yellow-orange for the grass. My path, which would normally be concrete or black, I'm going to paint it a nice cool green color. If you're painting with watercolors, don't forget to use lots of water to help you spread it around evenly. If you go over other shapes or objects, it's not a big deal, but just remember when you paint those other objects, you're going to want to paint them a slightly darker color than what was on them. I think I'm going to choose to paint my carriages dark blue. Now for my sidewalk, I really liked using pink, and I don't really have very much of it in my sky, so I'm going to add another stripe of pink for my sidewalk. And maybe a nice rich dark blue purple over here. Again, remember you're watching me paint quite quickly, but I wasn't really painting this fast in real life. Make sure you're taking lots of time to be careful and paint within the lines. Uh-oh, sorry, that's my alarm. Alright, all fixed. Now, the trees are my favorite part of this painting, so I want to make them the most vibrant color I can pick from my watercolors. I'm going to choose bright red, like fireballs. Don't forget the tree trunks. And we'll hop on over to the other side and paint those bright, fiery red as well. I love red. Now, I like that red so much, I'm going to use it for the roof of my building, and also a slightly orangier red for this tree branch. I think I'll choose a bluey purple for the building and use a darker version of blue to fill in my windows. Yeah, that looks nice. I'll choose blue for my factory and nice dark blue purple for my carriages as well, so that they stand out. Sometimes with watercolor you need to use multiple coats so that way it comes out vibrant enough, depending on how much water you have. Now, I'm just going to add a few strokes to my clouds, and there you have it. All done. What do you think? Go ahead and create your painting in whatever colors you choose. But remember, they should not be the real colors of the object in real life. And don't forget that we want them to be as bright and vibrant as possible. Don't use anything like black or brown. We want it to be bright red, bright green, bright yellow, bright purple, bright pink. Any of those colors look great as a Fauvist landscape. Don't forget to share a photo of your finished product. Awesome job, guys.